As a woman who lives in her truth, I've triggered lots of people in my life. It's usually a pipeline of people initially fascinated by my magic who come around to get a clear picture, a closer look. When they get close enough, they get surprised to see that everything checks out, that I'm consistent in my words and how actions match. They realize that I live up to the hype of my magic because I am intentional and choose to be free. I remove all limits and boxes from myself. I'm disciplined in who I am and who I want to become. With me, there's no falsehood or pretense. This often leads to their fascination turning into envy, intimidation, attempts to sabotage me, or my all-time favorite, running away from me because I hold up a mirror and expect them to show up authentically, like I do. Introverted but intuitively strong. That I am. I can quickly tell who is faking, so even if someone gets initial approval to have access to me, they're still being observed for a certain period of time. Their motives are always uncovered at the right time. Rejection and the uncovering of true colors never scares me because it is protecting and redirecting me. This is all protection from things that could be far worse than the tears I cry, way worse than the broken heart, way worse than knowing the signs of a manipulator. This is a life where I now know better and can do better. With experience comes wisdom, and with knowledge comes power. Let's use that power to continue protecting ourselves and evolving. Today's Empress Talks episode is one dear to me because it intertwines with my own experiences with trauma, deceit, betrayal, all of the above, and that is from friends, family, and romantic interests alike. As an empath and a gifted person, this journey has molded me into a very powerful force. That is why I'm appreciative of everyone, both good and bad, that I've crossed paths with this far in my life. I'm appreciative of everyone that was a messenger or even a lesson. Thank you, really. Now let's get into this protection routine. Number one is going to be your cycles. You want to start with your cycles. What's a common reoccurring theme in your life? It may be something that makes you feel uncomfortable, unsafe, or unhappy. You have to figure out what that theme is. That is what you would call your cycle. And you want to ask yourself, what have you learned? How will you avoid having to learn it again? Also, you're going to be asking yourself, what changes will you need to make to stop having these lessons come into your life again in different forms? Advice that helps with addressing your cycles is to not latch onto the anger that comes with these cycles. Don't latch onto the anger or hatred towards the people that made you feel unsafe, the people that made you feel uncomfortable, or negatively impacted your energy in any way. Something we all need to hear is sometimes the people that we are most angry at, the people we feel like we regret meeting the most, did exactly what they were supposed to do in our lives. But you are failing to pay attention. Do not be afraid to one day be objective and take this into account. All right, so once you've identified this theme, these cycles in your life, next you're going to do the dirty work. Okay? It's going to take a lot of compassion. You have to have compassion for yourself during this whole thing, but during the part where you're doing the dirty work, you might get angry with yourself. You might start to think, why didn't I notice this sooner? And a part of life is learning. So you should have compassion for yourself for not knowing better previously. And even if you did know better and you didn't do better, now you can. There's always an option. There's always a chance to do better the next time. So what I will advise is to feel your shadow and pain points. Your shadow self is the part of you that does things that society may deem shameful, weird, ugly, or whatever adjective that is a negative connotation for the human experience. But we are dark and light, so you cannot be afraid to explore these parts of yourself, and that's why it's called doing the dirty work, because you're going into the darkness right now, And you have to have compassion for yourself, because you're going to realize this part of you is you as well. And that's okay, because we are imperfect beings. When you're doing the dirty work and you're facing it, feel it. Feel it and think like, that made me feel low. That confused me. That made me not want to trust, etc. Once you get this process of the dirty work going and you start to feel it, you're also going to want to accept it. And you're going to start piecing this puzzle together and thinking things like, that wasn't even someone to trust. If this is something where you're dealing with betrayal, you're going to say, that was not someone to trust with my own feelings, because they're closed off to their own feelings. And you now have the understanding of the type of people to look for when it comes to being vulnerable. It's okay. We all make mistakes, because that is the part of the journey of life. So when you're doing the dirty work, do not let the feeling of shame, the feeling of disgust, the feeling of, oh my God, really? I did that? I trusted them? Don't let that stop you from continuing to do the dirty work. If you want to win with these lessons that you've learned, you're going to take these lessons and transmute them into new energy so that you can use it for a new reality for yourself. And this reality is going to be where you're having your power back. I'm going to get a little nerdy for a second. There's the law of conservation of energy, which states that energy is neither created nor destroyed. It's simply transferred and transformed into other forms of energy at all times, no matter how big or small. So you're going to apply this to yourself. Nothing has been lost. Everything has been learned. You now have knowledge. Instead of keeping it in, we're feeling it. Instead of keeping it in, we're going to acknowledge it and accept it. Accept its purpose inside of our lives. We can do so much with this energy instead of suppressing it and holding it inside. Don't let these things make you close off from the world. Next, we declutter and set boundaries. Remove old energy. That is what this part is all about for creating your protection routine. Leave the environments that enable your unwanted cycle. Put boundaries on your gifts, because people will drain you. For example, do you notice the makeup and hair friend is always the one doing everyone's makeup and hair during the trip? And as soon as it's her time to do her makeup and hair, everyone's rushing because they're already ready. They're not even considering that she just gave all of her gift, energy, and time to them. And now it's her time to pour back into herself, and they're rushing her. They're upset that she's making them late. Do you understand? Put boundaries on your gifts. Don't make everyone else's bed just for you to be tired. Say the word no a lot more with no explanation, and whenever your boundaries are crossed, add your consequences as you please. Everyone has one chance. In my life specifically, you have one chance, one and done. I don't do 2, 3, 4, 5 chances. When I'm done with you, I'm finished with you permanently. You need to implement the one chance rule in your life, especially for certain people. Of course, I give my friends chances, my family chances, but love interests, new acquaintances, you don't have a chance to play in my face at all. So you should give yourself authority for who you allow to have access to you. You control your own life. Be firm in all of your decisions and stick to your own rules. Now that we've done all the previous steps, let's get into some protection routines. One, and my most favorite, is obviously going to be praying, meditating, and journaling a lot more. I am the ambassador of the Passion Planner. Go ahead and use my link to get 10% off of your Passion Planners. You can journal with these planners. At the end of each month, you do your reflections, and you can also do your planning to understand what you're looking forward to each day, each week, each month, whatever it may be, because this does help you to have a firm grasp on your own reality and stay more present. So I do advise to journal more and meditate more. Alongside that, you would want to ground yourself every morning. It's super important to remain present, and that is why we have the practice of grounding. So grounding every morning and night, the purpose of this is so that nothing can move you easily. You are less reactive, you're less prone to feeling drained and down just because of anyone's opinion, thoughts, and behaviors. You are centered in yourself to the point where you have to decide if you want to be moved. Some practices to ground: going in the sun, Walk in and on nature, meaning walking barefoot. That was something I made sure I do every time I go to Jamaica. I go to the beach, I walk barefoot. You can walk barefoot on concrete. It actually gives you a way to be present with the earth and together with it. Something important to note for your protection routine is going to be that you don't have to be accepted by others. It's all about you accepting yourself. That comes first. That's why it's called self esteem. Be more sure of yourself, your own worth, your words, and your actions, because this will help everything to align in your favor. No one is coming to save you, so save yourself. Let go of all the expectations of other people. Instead of having expectations of others, just focus on healing yourself and creating things that make you love yourself more, love life more, enjoy life. Really work on living in your truth and removing shame from your story. Embarrassment should no longer exist by the time you get further into this protection routine. You should trip and get up and not even think about who saw you. That's how present and confident you should be in yourself to get back up. Have a space to decompress and regulate your emotions at any time. Whether this is at the side of your bed, you have a little creative corner. I have a creative corner. Whether it's in your car where you're playing music at the end of your day of work. Have an area for yourself, just for you, that no one else interrupts. Ignore negative comments. Watch what you put in and on your body. Y'all, these protection routines are a whole picture. It's not even just your trauma or your deceit from other people that impacts you. It's what you do on your daily life. Another protection routine that may seem funny, I actually used to have a self-care dance workshop because I had an understanding in psychology and body where I understood that moving your body can actually release trauma, and the art of whining, the art of thrusting in African and Caribbean communities is actually from an ancient art of releasing trauma, because in women, trauma is stored within our hips. So that's why in Jamaica and the Caribbean we're whining, but it has become so sexualized. And women need to take that back, take that power back, and use that as a protection routine to remove any negative feeling about yourself, release any trauma, any down feeling, whining, gyrating, shaking your ass, whatever you want to call it. Those things are beneficial to us, but they've been stripped from us and sexualized because of certain historical things. And that's not cool. Even if you just want to do this in private, that's okay. But don't let anyone get in the way of you healing your body through natural means and ways. That is an easy, cheap way. Dancing, whining your hips. Get to it. Another protection routine for women is going to be protecting your gut. Working on your gut health, eating healthy, drinking water frequently, following your intuition, listening to your intuition the first time. Sometimes you have answers to things and you seem crazy to yourself, but you're not crazy. This is your body's way of guiding you. Listen to it more, and that's going to work better the more you focus on your gut health. And this leads me into the final portion, your relationship with yourself. Your intuition is going to be the best friend you have. Just like I said, train yourself to listen to your gut feelings the first time. Be patient and compassionate with yourself, because this is going to take trial and error, and it's okay. It's okay to give yourself chances to make mistakes and learn. The important thing is to stay present and make note of the lessons so that you can use it in a future reference. Remember, women, everyone has the ability to heal and transmute energy at any time as long as they can put their mind to it. It's never too late to protect yourself, because nothing is ever lost, only learned. And that is all for this episode of the Empress Talks series. This was a very detailed topic, so I want you to take your time to digest it, watch it a few times, and really understand where I'm going with this topic, because it's a serious one. Women do have to be vigilant and careful the older we get so that we can navigate this world, navigate this life, and grow into our best selves. That is all I want for us, and I hope you found this video helpful. Please give it a thumbs up, leave anything you have to say, any thoughts in the comments. I'd be happy to respond, and
continue the conversation there, and I'll see y'all in another video. Bye. So there's the sunset.